Good morning. I'm just going to welcome you back to second semester. We're starting the middle of chapter 6, so we need to do a quick review of what we're doing. So I'm going to ask you to do this in class on your own without looking at your notes, try to remember the formal definition of a parallelogram, a kite, a trapezoid, and what are the properties of a parallelogram. And then we're going to actually expound upon those today, going with very specific types of parallelograms. So one of my biggest things that I would suggest would be for you to review chapter 6 notes and read over first semester notes. Hopefully those will kind of get you all lined up. So first thing, it says define a parallelogram. And remember, the definition is really simple. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral with two pairs of opposite sides parallel. So we always would draw it. It's the symbol you could use, and we'd automatically mark its opposite sides parallel. Then we had a kite, and a kite, remember, was not a parallelogram. It's not where it is signified. It's a quadrilateral with no parallel sides, and it has two pairs of consecutive sides, or adjacent sides, I think sometimes we use congruent. So remember, it looks something like this. And those were congruent, and those two were congruent. And then we had our trapezoid. And remember, trapezoid is a quadrilateral with, excuse me, exactly one pair of opposite sides parallel. And we're actually going to discover some of the properties and stuff working with that, but it would look something like this, and we'd automatically mark the sides that are parallel. And then we had our properties, and if you were in my class first semester, you heard over and over again, opposite sides are what, opposite sides are what, and people had to keep filling in the blank. Well, opposite sides are, first thing you should know, if it's a parallelogram and you're looking at it, you should automatically know that the opposite sides are parallel. So we're going to use our parallel symbol. Then the next thing you should automatically know is that your opposite sides are congruent to each other, both pairs. And then we keep on going with all of our properties. So, you could sit there and mark these and go, oh yeah, that's always true about a parallelogram. Then we talked about our opposite angles. So here I have a parallelogram, and we also know that opposite angles are what? Congruent. Exactly. And then our diagonals. What's so special about them? Well, we mark the other one here. Our diagonals, they were not congruent. We knew that on a normal parallelogram. Now, for specific cases they are, but not every parallelogram. But what do we know they do to each other? The diagonals bisect each other. And then we talked about our consecutive angles, which, remember, like if I have my parallelogram A, B, C, D, consecutive, the ones that are formed from the same line. I know A and B have to be what? B and C have a special relationship. What are those? They are supplementary. And remember, supplementary are just two angles that add up to 180 degrees. And then we had our next part. We actually had to memorize these definitions. A rectangle is a quadrilateral with what? And notice how it's marked here. With 4 right angles. Now, because of that, we're going to keep building on every side. So let's go ahead and head to the next page.